Why do we even have that button?
So I can press it.
So we can start the game.
Oh, well, okay then.
Yes.
That's valid.
I'm glad we had this talk. I'm honestly surprised that it took until episode 32 for us to have this talk, but I'm glad we had it. Anyway, hello. Welcome to Cause and Effect. This is a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign. My name is Crash. I'll be your DM for the evening. Tonight I'm joined by a bunch of awesome people whose names I am trying to read with my bifocals. I'm still not used to the prescription, and I probably should move my monitors closer to me. Tonight I'm joined by Beth, Ellie, Io, and Jen. And even with the names being all blurry, I still almost read Ellie's Halloween. Because it's a good Halloween name. Alright, so what happened last time?
Plotting to kill a demigoddess, that's all. I mean, not that Hobby said it, but, well.
Okay, yes.
You don't say things like that.
That is what happened in the last 5 seconds.
Oh, right. Yeah. And we rescued the Rust Drake because Chadrick read its mind and it was sad and hurting and not actually malevolent. So it's like, wait a minute, maybe we can fix it. Maybe we can make it a pet. Maybe we can help it. And so Chadrick actually did like laying on hands stuff to cure disease. Maybe someone else should do the actual coherent version.
I don't even remember, so it can't be me right now.
I was just going to say I hit a dragon until it stopped barfing trash on me.
That is an accurate description.
It is, yeah.
I love that it's accurate and yet so inaccurate. It's you hit the Drake so hard that ear scritches were more effective.
Uh-huh.
So if I am looking through my notes here, Cavil was off doing something for Mo, as Cavil frequently does. Chadrick was helpful. Hobby jumped from surface to surface, as a cat does, and may have left a cat-shaped silhouette on the ground, highlighted by a large layer of rust. Mech was intimidating.
Tex knocked us off.
Because Tex knocked you off the tower by Tex's mighty leap, yeah.
Yeah.
Mech was intimidating.
I did not fall of my own accord.
This is also true. Tex quoted Superman in the most intimidating way possible to someone who wasn't there. And A made a rust aim.
Oh no. I forgot about that.
Also, everyone was reminded that A...
No, you go.
Everyone was also reminded that A picked the subclass for Rogue, or Rouge, as A refers to it, that gives A psychic powers. So A can just send Baby Kobold to the tune of Baby Shark. Yes, the words don't track. This doesn't bother A. Directly into your brain. So far, A has only used this ability on Chadrick.
Oh, good. Learned it.
Chadrick is very proud.
Dad?
I learned it from watching you. Yes, this is true. This is accurate. So, to wrap up what occurred, you successfully found the being that was sabotaging various factories. The factories themselves had put together a fund like as a group, they put together a fund to pay for adventurers to take care of this. And as a result, you each earned another 1,000 gold. I have already added that to your inventories. So there you go. There was some grumbling about somebody setting a precedent for this particular tier of adventuring quest being worth 1,000 gold, to which Monty just sort of whistled and walked away with a little halo above his head. Once around the corner, there was a voice heard just saying, "Not my problem." And Hogbucket Sr. and a few other interested parties are taking the rust drake into their care.
Oh, good.
Hogbucket Sr. oddly has some experience with this only because of the nature of crystals that are embedded into the drake. The whole rust thing that's unusual. But there are several researchers of magically induced ailments that are taking an interest in seeing what they can do. Most of them are not Ogmanites, to which everyone breathes a sigh of relief. There are some very skilled Ogmanite healers, don't get me wrong. But not on this island. They are elsewhere. Something about getting overworked and underpaid when they decided to make Flotsam their home, so they went out.
Sadly, kind of reasonable, really.
Unfortunate. So you have money in your pockets, burn. Preferably not literally. And Quentin's used goods and consignment shop Emporium is open for business.
Is there a list of things? No,
A is already
list of
walking out holding
next
a whip.
things.
I saw a problem
Is-
come along.
Do you think Chadwick will like it?
Oh, you're going to use it yourself to imitate, or are you
No,
planning to
no.
gift it?
Well, Chadwick's been using a whip a lot lately, so I thought maybe getting him a magical one would be nice. I got a good deal on it.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, it is a whip of the
excellent.
archaeologist. I do not understand why archaeologists need whips, but this is for an archaeologist apparently.
Is it +5 against Nazis?
I don't know what that is. Apparently
You're lucky.
it makes you better at things like getting across chasms, swinging over things. Apparently it's also useful for dancing and card tricks. I don't understand any of that. So for the record, it gives 3 times a day you can use it to roll at advantage for any dexterity based skill check or saving throw. You just need to describe to the DM how you're using the whip in that case.
Hobby is going to assure A that if Chadrick doesn't like it, then Chadrick would have no sense of taste, because that is an awesome whip. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
Is there a
I-
list of stuff that's in the
there is sort of
in the pinned messages.
Well, in the pinned messages,
Okay.
it will tell you. I'm looking in pack tactics. No wonder I'm looking. Like, where's my pinned message? Not there. Okay, I'm copying the pinned message and I'm pasting it again. So those are the prices for magical items. The whip that A has is a rare item.
Oh.
So,
Duh.
Mech, you're going into the consignment shop and looking for stuff?
Yep. That's what I'm doing.
A sees you. Well, what are you looking at in particular? What are you looking for?
She's looking for a hat because then her eyes will glow more under it and be that much more intimidating.
Okay, let me go into items here.
Or a hood, whatever they got.
All right, well, Quentin is rummaging through, looking at the various hats that he's got. Well, let's see. I got a hat of vermin. If you want that, you can.
What does a hat of vermin do?
Oh, it's great. You can speak a command word and bring out a bat or a frog or a rat.
I
It
think I'm
it just
struggling.
immediately runs away from you
Well,
because it's just like a bats, frogs, and rats don't actually want to make friends with things that are much larger than them. Not into the.
Right.
I am never gonna sell this. Okay. I also have a hat of
You-
wizardry.
Somebody
Find a
don't
druid
say.
for that. Sorry, what?
I have a hat of wizardry.
I don't do any spells though.
Okay. How about a hat of disguise?
Interesting.
What does it do?
You can use it to disguise yourself.
As what?
Well,
This is
Quentin will
typical
go into
barbarian.
detail,
You know what I
but
mean?
basically it lets you cast the disguise self spell. So you would have a hard time disguising yourself as a kobold because of the size difference, but you could end up disguising
Right.
yourself as a large human, or large orc, or large dragon. Like
Dragonborn.
if the Dragonborn would be a bit more difficult because the proportions are just a little bit different, but you'd be able to appear as not a murder bot or
But she
a
likes
more
to.
gruesome looking murder bot if you so preferred.
Oh, that there we go. Sold. How much is it?
Let me double check. It's uncommon, so that only costs you 300 gold.
Oh, awesome. Take that off my character sheet if you will.
Okay. Let me add the hat.
Uh-huh.
Wait, hold on. Okay, it does require attunement. For a second, I thought it didn't require attunement. I was like, wait, that's too broken if it doesn't. That brings you down to
Okay.
1,700 gold.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. As you are walking out the store with your nifty hat, he says, Mac,
Uh-huh.
I found a thing. And
What'd you find?
I was gonna sell it, but I thought maybe you'd be interested in it instead.
Okay, what'd you find?
A pulls out a scuffed up, bloody looking, somewhat torn, but not all the way through bag of holding, plops it on the ground, rummages inside, and starts to pull out a handle and keeps pulling out the handle and keeps pulling out the handle. And then it gets too heavy for A to pull it out any further. And it sort of gets caught on the end of the bag and says, could you hold this part?
Help you with that?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
take the bag off the end of the
bag or the handle.
No, you hold the
Okay,
handle.
that. I
The
got
bag
it.
is a lot lighter,
Got it.
even when this is in it. But
All right.
okay. And you pull out a fearsome looking battle axe carved in runes and with like silver inlay on the handle and all kinds of stuff. It is also
Where'd you get
dripping in
this
blood.
from? It's amazing. That's fine. Used to that. Where'd you find this thing?
Around.
All right. Well, it's probably too big for you to use.
Yeah, that
Did you
was
want
my
me to
first
have it?
thought. The other thought was, how do I get it back in the bag? Manage that eventually.
That is a good question. I don't know.
Oh, I don't want it back in the bag.
Yeah.
It's
This
yours
is
now.
great, though.
The blood fades away.
Oh, wow. Neat.
The blood was all an
Yeah.
illusion.
Juicing. Ah, okay.
So this is a great axe of intimidation.
Mhm.
Three times a day as a bonus action, you can have it do an illusionary thing for 10 minutes. The things are, you can have it change to a solid color of your choice. You can have it drip with illusionary blood for 10 minutes. You can have it look like it is on fire. The fire can be whatever color you want it to be. And it casts off the same amount of light as a torch. Now, remember, this is only for 10 minutes.
Right. Right.
Or you can make all the decorative inlays that are all over it appear to move on their own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay.
None of these things actually happen. They are only illusions.
Right. Right. But you can really scare people with those.
Well, that's just it. While it's active, and you can turn it off as a free action, but otherwise it stays active for 10 minutes. While it's active, you have advantage on intimidation checks against beings with a wisdom of 3 or higher.
Oh, wow.
If they are too unintelligent to notice the axe is on fire, you cannot intimidate them more with the axe.
Okay. Fair. Yeah.
And if a being can see through illusions, like they've got true sight or something, it's not going to do anything for them.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise,
that's okay. If it still functions as a battle axe, I can probably do something with it anyway.
Oh, it is a +1 battle axe.
Neat. Where is that at? I have a great axe on my sheet, but nothing else.
Well, I'm adding it now.
How do I add that?
I'm adding it.
Thank you. Okay.
There you go.
Awesome. I'm gonna sell the great axe to the vendor.
You bought the great axe from them.
Yeah.
That was, by the way, such a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
That great axe that you bought from him.
I know. I don't think Mech knew, but yeah, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna try to sell it back to him, or just hand it to him.
The whole time, Quentin was like, "He's insisting, so okay, but I really don't want to give the murder bot a bad deal." Okay.
Has an iffy concept of money.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Quentin will buy it back for 30 gold.
So I presume before. Okay, that sounds great. Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah, but I mean, as a murder bot, I don't think she needed gold. It was like, before we all got here, right? So I would assume it was just like, go out and kill that one. Okay, didn't really need gold. So she doesn't really know what to do with it.
Speaking of not knowing what to do with it, the wealthiest of you, Tex, is there anything that you want to spend your money on?
I don't know yet.
Okay. That's a valid statement.
I'm debating whether or not to go in and look for a shield. I will probably go in and poke around, but not be committal yet. So if anyone else has ideas for what to do, feel free to skip ahead to them. Hobby is
I have
browsing for armor and daggers.
I have this image in my head of Tex walking through the armor section, and Quentin's like, miss, may I help you? Just looking. Okay. With Tex continuing to look incredibly intimidating and ominous, because that's Tex's resting form of being intimidating and ominous.
I mean, you're both murder bots.
Right.
Yes, but one of them now has an axe that can be on fire while they hack you to pieces. Whereas Tex will just smash you.
And a hat.
And a hat.
You know, I will let you decide what this hat looks like. It's a hat of disguise. It can look however you want.
I figure it looks like kind of like a straw hat, give you a lot of like shade so that your eyes glow better. You know?
Straw hat like farmer from the 1800s, or straw hat like pork pie hat where somebody is like doing a stand-up routine on stage while a large hook comes and pulls them off stage.
I think it'd be funnier with the first one.
Okay.
The farmer hat. I think that'd be hysterical. So, yeah.
I'm just a simple farmer. Ignore the large flaming battle axe. I mean,
Right.
Plow. It's a plow.
Yeah. Also, it'll keep the rain out of her eyes, so she'll have better view at whatever she's trying to kill.
I just had this thought. Magical items are very hard to damage. So Mech could totally go to a field and do the whole anime running forward, trailing the weapon behind her thing, leaving a large groove in the ground. You actually could use it as a plow and it'd be very effective.
We'll see if that comes up. You know?
Mech uses plow. It's super effective.
The farmers are like, well, thank you for plowing the field while our horse was sick. That was very nice of you, but the field ended here. You plowed the woods beyond the field. Did you notice when you went through the stone fence?
Those rocks.
It was rocks. I didn't.
The rocks are also plowed. Therefore, a rock garden.
Or possibly cleaved.
Right.
Cloven.
Well, I mean, I had to test it out somewhere, so.
The plow contains potassium benzoate.
That's bad.
But preserves things.
That's good.
But maybe you get cancer eventually. Who knows?
That's bad.
Did make the GM laugh?
I don't know. It was a group effort. It was a group effort.
I think that's a group effort. Yeah,
Does that
I
mean
do.
we all get inspiration?
Oh my.
Sure. If you don't have it,
Okay.
checking Tex's Tex already has it, so Tex gets nothing. Mech didn't have it, so Mech gets something. There we go. You have it now.
Right. Oh. Okay.
There you go. Cavill, is there anything you're interested in buying?
Probably. But I don't know what's there.
Well, Quentin is happy to take a look for any kind of item that you have an interest. Are you interested in a weapon or armor or knickknack or Chotsky? I've got a lot of Chotskys, actually. I have a significant number of Chotskys. There's a little kobold who keeps selling them to me.
Who keeps buying them?
Not a lot of people, which is why I have so many of them. But if I don't buy them from this little kobold, I start getting songs in my head, and it's starting to get annoying. So I just buy the tchotchkes as quickly as I can, and then the kobold goes away. Did I break the tabaxi?
Is delighted with A's entrepreneurial spirit.
I keep finding them, and I don't have need for them, so I've been selling them.
Where do you find them?
Around.
Have you been thieving them from people?
No, I'm not that kind of rouge.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you were, that'd be fine too.
Well, I know some people think so, but usually not the people who lose items. So that's not what I do. If I know it's owned by somebody, I don't take it. But if I can't find who owns it.
Are you finding these?
Around.
Around where?
Places.
I mean, you don't have to say if you don't want to, but you could just say you don't want to.
I don't want to. Saying that took considerable willpower for A.
To say it? Aww.
To say I don't want to.
This is probably... And Hobby said okay. Hobby will go back to looking for leather armor and checking out what the daggers are and that kind of thing.
A looks more nervous now than before. It does not require an insight check.
Hobby blink blink. Poor A. But Cavill was looking for stuff too.
Yes.
What are knickknacks of, just out of curiosity?
Well, there's this little box. It doesn't open, but it has this handle on top that is held in place with two little wedges. And you can turn the handle and it moves the wedges back and forth on the top of the box. And it doesn't do anything at all.
It's just a fidget toy?
It's just a fidget toy that is lightly stained with blood.
Is that because it's been in the bloody bag of holding?
You just see it on the shelf there.
Yes, but we've heard it that it's been sold to the store by someone with a by a kobold who puts songs in people's heads.
We all know that Dungeons and Dragons is just applied mathematics. I have informed you of one, and I have informed you of another one. Whether or not you add them together to two is up to you. It might not be an addition problem. It might be a bloody problem.
Hobby will sniff the bloody thing just out of curiosity.
Smells like old wood. And blood.
And why is there blood? Is there blood on the other things?
Me an investigation check.
Investigation. Okie dokie.
Okay, I'm scrolling through the items that are inputted from D&D Beyond into Foundry. That's an 11. There's a few things where it might be an aesthetic choice, or it might be that those little crevices that couldn't be wiped 100% clean, that little gunk that's in there might also be ferrous, but not a whole lot. A couple of knickknacks have labels, security for funds temporarily first. I don't get the rest.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm scrolling through these items.
It's a knickknack, paddywhack. Give the frog alone.
Oh.
You already have inspiration.
Give the frog alone.
So I'm scrolling through D&D Beyond items that have been imported into Foundry, and I have found an item called Elephant. It is labeled as a backpack.
Elephant.
It has an icon of a horse.
Okay. Confused.
I understand each of these things slightly as to why that might be the case.
Is the horse named Elephant?
No. You can store things in the saddlebags or whatever of a mount. And backpack is the default thing that you store other things in.
Sure.
So containers are labeled backpacks. Because the elephant is a mount, it has a default stock image of a thing that you can ride. In this case, it's a horse, of course.
Oh, I see. All right.
So what we have is a backpack named Elephant shaped like a horse.
Concern.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like I have not quite enough gold to go looking for a rare item.
Do you need
Uh,
some gold?
Tex will help out.
I mean, Hobby is right there first because, siblings.
Yeah, but Tex is.
Filthy
Okay.
rich.
I was going to say immensely wealthy.
Where
So-
did Tex get all her money?
She just hasn't been spending it.
Tex hasn't spent any money.
Oh,
Except for just a couple items. So if you're looking over on the the right-hand side, where all those little icons are at the top, where we normally go for like the chat messages, character sheets, journals and stuff, right next to the gear icon, there is a label that says Compendium Packs. Looks like a little book. In
Close book.
theory,
Yeah.
you should be able to find a section called Item.
Mm-mm.
And if you click on that, there's a lot of stuff from D&D Beyond, including one called DDB Items.
He's here. Oh, there's stuff.
There's other lists in there, but what's in the other lists will also be in DDB Items.
well, I am going to go looking at, like, staves and wands and things.
Oh, you want wands? I got tons of wands.
Fine.
I got so many wands.
Excellent. Can I look at the wand?
Oh, certainly. But not that one. That one's a wand of blinding. After an unfortunate incident, I'm just keeping it in this black velvet carrying case until someone buys it.
I use detect magic on the black velvet carrying.
Oh, yeah,
case.
there's a wand in there. It is quite possible that Quentin is keeping the wand in a container because somebody, you know how certain movies and TV shows will show that somebody is totally inept at gun safety by having them look down the barrel?
Oh no.
Imagine if somebody did that with a thing called a wand of blinding.
Oh.
Do not
Oh,
point the laser
dear.
pointer at your face.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So I've got a wand of enemy detection, a wand of fear, a wand of fireballs, a wand of branding. The wand of branding, I'll sell that to you for cheap. If you point it at something, it just says buy Spaceballs merchandise. I don't get it. Maybe it was a promotional thing. I don't know. There's a wand of smiles, a wand of scowls. I think there's a wand of secrets, but you didn't hear it from me. There's a wand of lightning
I was
bolts.
going to go looking for a staff of healing, but Cavill is going to sort of examine the wand of fireballs because look, they miss their ability to cast fireball.
Well, it's a rare magical item. It's got 7 charges. If you use up all of them, there's a chance the wand will crumble into ashes. But it does renew itself every morning, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 6 gun.
7 if you're desperate.
But also, I really should look for the healing item.
Oh, you want healing? I got healing. I've got an amulet of healing hands. I've got tons of healing potions. So many healing potions. I've got a staff of healing.
That sounds extraordinarily useful.
Yeah, I tried selling it to Cogbucket on the other side of the building, and apparently Cogbucket was interested in a different kind of staff, one that's made of a whole bunch of people. I don't get it. You gotta pay people.
Yes, you do.
Anyway, if you want this, it's yours.
However, would love to be a one tiefling healing staff. Can people hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Give me a
Okay.
persuasion check.
All right. I don't know what I'm persuading people for, but
Actually persuasive. I mean, come on.
Well, you were having some banter, and Quentin likes banter. So I just wanted to see if Quentin was going to try giving you it. So, I've been sitting on this for a while. Most parties have a healer with them, so they don't really need a staff of healing. I'll let it go for 2,000 gold. That's below market value.
you have a deal.
Ah, wonderful. I will just drag this over into your inventory. Ignore that fourth wall over there. We're fixing it.
Let me open the. Oh, there it is.
But you notice right as I dropped it into your inventory?
Yep, and I'm going to try to figure out how to attune to it. It says attunement required. Okay, yeah. Hey, let me attune to you. How do I... There we go. I'm not sure it's a weapon.
Well, technically, you can hit someone over the head with the staff. So I think that's why they count it as a weapon.
That's fair.
Smack, smack. Are you better now?
Look, Caffel does not at all get why parties with a healer do not want this, because it is effectively giving you more spell slots. Who doesn't want more spell slots? This is one of those places where the being a multi-class with 2 types of spell slot really comes out.
A random cleric from some other cohort at Flag might hear Cavil say something like this, and they might just mutter, "If they stop standing in the fire, maybe I would heal them more often."
But Cavill resistant to fire, aren't they?
Right.
With how often
So
they
I
stand in the
stand
fire,
in
you'd
the
think they'd
fire,
build up an
other
immunity
people
to
do
it.
not.
I went on a quest with
So
Monty
they
once.
need
He just stood in the
items with
fire and
sword
laughed.
elements.
I talked right over you. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just continuing to riff, like the one cleric saying they went on a quest once with Monty, and he just stood in the fire and laughed the whole time. They did not heal him at all.
I mean, fair. So it was Cavill?
Caffel was opining that the issue was that the healer didn't need more spell slots. The rest of the party needed absorb elements.
Yes. Yes, they did. And apparently there was this one swashbuckling kobold who was just like, "Go ahead and hit me with the fireball. I can take it." Maybe they could have taken it, but they did not. In any case, that was on another planet. And wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, that would have actually happened a while ago. What's that?
My spell book. I wonder if I can
Spellbook?
add the special charges and stuff to my spell book.
I'm not sure Foundry is designed for that. I think it's just that the charges are built into the...
I can do it.
Might be easier to on your attributes page. You should have a set of what are they called? Resources up at the top above death saves, and it might be easier just to add a staff charges resource. But
That's fair.
however you want to approach it.
I can give myself innate spell castings because I want to be able to cast the spells from my sheet is the problem, so that I can see them. Okay, but first I have to find where the spells are. Actor, adventure, default, item, spells. No, don't put lesser restoration up there. Put it in innate. Okay. I add cure wounds twice. Maybe if I turn this normal one to innate spell casting, then I can add another normal one. Details. Always
I
prepared. Yes.
absolutely love how every session we do has a period where we could just, like, if I did timestamp would be stopping the game to figure out something else about Foundry.
Sorry.
Don't be. This is interesting.
Have now added the
You added the charges so
said
that you can
anything
cast them
after adding-
elsewhere.
yeah, I have added the spells into my innate spellcasting list so that I can cast them from my sheet properly.
And I see that it's also one of your resources right next to Bardic Inspiration.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I should not tag long rest because that's going to recharge everything on a long rest. Instead of 1d6 plus 4. Also, it's not on a long rest, it's at dawn. So if I, for some reason, do not take a long rest, then
It still recharges.
it still recharges, yeah. Which is neat.
And for the record, even though Cavil was not adventuring during this particular last arc, canonically, Cavil, every time Cavil's not there, Cavil is doing something for Mo. So Cavil is still making bank anyway. So that explains the continued gold earning.
Plus, Hobby would divide hers if Cavill wasn't getting anything.
There's that too. What is this? Smoldering armor. Oh, yeah. Wisps of harmless, odorless smoke rise from the armor when it is. Essentially, you become the room's humidifier.
That sounds fun.
Oh, I thought it would tie into the axe that catches on fire thing.
Yeah, that'd be great. She could be even more scary. That's cool.
I like that we're intimidating in two entirely different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we don't overlap really, you know?
May I also share with you a dread helm?
Oh, wow.
Fearsome steel helm makes your eyes glow red and hides the rest of your face in shadow while you wear it. Now, your eyes already glow, so this would be redundant.
They already glow. It would be
Yes.
redundant, yes.
But I gave one of these shaped like Batman's cowl to Punk.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, if you will, A finds a dread helm on the shelf, puts it on their head, and say, "Roar!"
You cut out.
Well,
Precious.
A's voice would be muffled because A's face doesn't exactly fit into the dread helm properly. But you do
Okay.
see two glowing red eyes. And just hear something that is reminiscent of, but not quite like, the adults from any Peanuts animation.
Whoa.
That,
Yes.
yeah.
Hey, no free samples!
Okay, that's... Let's see. How do I make a copy of this? The Eldritch Claw tattoo.
What's really funny for me is you're covered in fur.
Yeah. But
So
the
how are
whole
you gonna-
point is that
Yeah.
if the tattoo is on you, your unarmed strikes are considered magical. And you get a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls with them. And there's a once a day bonus action.
Hobby comes out.
Powering it for 1 minute each.
Hobby comes out of the tattoo parlor with a cloth wrapped arm, But it's like wrapped in like that pink elastic cloth that they put around a cat's arm when they've been in the vet for a while and they had to shave part or whatever. Everyone just looks at Hobby weird for a week while the fur grows back.
Well, technically, hang on, technically. Uncommon, so Hobby would like to get that if that's around. If it's available.
That's this is written so oddly.
What, the Elder's Claw attunement process?
Yeah. No, the coverage.
The what? I didn't catch the word you used.
The coverage.
The coverages?
Which has nothing to do with any of the rest of the spell, the item.
Oh, the image.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be the depicts claw-like forms and other jagged shapes.
Yeah, but
No, the more rare the tattoo, the larger an area of your body it covers. I think I know why they did that. Because
it makes like that sort of thing makes sense for other magic tattoos. Like there are magic tattoos for which that makes sense. Just not this one.
it kind of makes me think they were trying to do. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
On one hand, it kind of makes me think, okay, well, they were thinking of another way of limiting how many of these you could get. But you could still have more rare tattoos than you have attunement spots. Mm-hmm. Unless you're like an artificer and you get an additional attunement slot. But then you could have 4 tattoos. Anyway. So it's not really a limiting factor. So it was just something else they decided to write.
Speaking of tattoos, I hear you can actually get one at BlizzCon this year. Yep. I'm not going.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would not do that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what's in the ink and how it's going to affect me, so I can't.
Ooh, yeah.
I would if I was able, but yeah.
I would not trust any convention to even approach the cleanliness I would want out of a tattoo parlor.
Right, but this is a group that, long story short, Blizzard essentially hired a bunch of actual good tattoo parlors to give people tattoos in the lead up to Diablo 4, and it could be a small one or a big one or whatever, and so it's the same people doing it. They know what they're doing, you know? So I don't know exactly where in BlizzCon this is going to be or how they're going to do that, but that's the thing now. There's also a real world like blood donation thing, and if you do that to wherever if you can do that, if you're healthy enough, it's supposed to like give everybody in Diablo 4 something. You know, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway, that's all.
thing from Jen now.
Hmm?
Gazinda.
Oh, okay. I figured out why it matters. Sorry. I was misled by that table being on every tattoo. So the Eldritch Claw tattoo is uncommon. That means it covers half a limb or the scalp.
Ellie, all I can hear are occasional consonants and a twanging noise as if there was something electronic going on.
Ellie is coming through on my end, though.
Same. Yeah.
That's
You
good.
might be
Okay.
hearing- we
Coming
have a-
through to me, but you're coming through a little iffy.
Well, I adjusted which of the assorted Wi-Fis I was on, so fingers crossed.
All right. Well, Quentin is able to find an Eldritch Claw tattoo. Oddly enough, there aren't a lot of people who are interested in making unarmed magical strikes, except for monks who can already punch ghosts. So
Bob
they don't
can't
really need
punch a
this.
ghost.
With this tattoo, you could punch a ghost.
That's right. That's why I want it.
Okay.
Hoppy, were you fighting ghosts?
Yeah.
Not yet is the correct answer.
Can you?
Be prepared to fight a ghost then.
Right. Crash. Can you perform the?
The ritual
Yeah,
of
there's-
applying the tattoo. How about I make sure I don't put it on Cavil by
Yeah.
mistake? That would be unfortunate,
Indeed.
but
I-
funny.
yeah.
I don't
Into it.
need an Eldritch Claw. I have Eldritch Blast.
True. Those are usually good.
Eldritch Blast tattoo. It's when you get hit by an Eldritch Blast that crit.
An Eldritch Blast tattoo is how some patrons want to brand something on you to symbolize the agreement.
For a second, Mo goes, I can do that? No. Not doing, but no.
Oh, how funny.
Mo is thinking of advertising for his various businesses on Warlocks.
Yeah.
But Mo is
Yeah,
also
I
thinking,
think-
wait a minute, I have right now one Warlock and it cost me a level. So maybe not.
Poor Mo.
Or Mo.
Okay, how do we attune this item?
Right click on it, which I already did, and there's an option to edit,
I see.
duplicate, delete. Well, it says unattune now and unequip, and I already attuned it
Wonderful.
because I figured out how to do that because I did it with the flagstone too.
Okay. You are handed a complimentary alcohol wipe for the area that you intend to tattoo, even though you're only like breaking the skin in one small pinprick of a spot. The alcohol wipe is branded Fantasy KFC.
It's still smoking.
Oh no.
Hobby, we'll sit around, we'll wipe the thing, and then sit around waiting for the tattoo to take.
People who come and go in the shop are just staring over at Hobby as they come in, with Hobby just holding a needle to whatever limb that she's choosing to tattoo. Unless you chose to tattoo your scalp. That'd be funnier. The convenient thing is,
tattoos on my fur.
yeah, it's going to be under your fur. So no one's actually going to see it unless there is an accident with a fire-based attack. And Cavil did not buy the wand of fireballs.
I did not.
So you're less likely to have a fire-based
Unfortunately,
attack.
a wand of fireballs inevitably turns into a wand of burning fur.
We know that one. Yes, the
Oh
wand of
my.
burning fur was a problem. No, I think she's putting it on a limb because, I mean, it. Well, actually, scalp. If I did add others, and I can always stick it on scalp. Yeah, okay, that might be amusing. It might be going to mess with her head fur coloring or something.
Personally, I like wand of fireballs, but I only ever get to use them once before the wand breaks. Wait, you don't use them by snapping them in half? Oh.
Oh.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
Uh-huh.
Still very effective.
Wand of all the fireball charges go off at once.
Mo's been making bank off of Monty. It's, the wands that Monty buys from Mo are custom engraved with a little line halfway through, and it says "Snap here."
No, that's cruel.
The line item in Mo's inventory
I
is.
mean, if it's how he wants to use them.
I mean, you get more bang for the buck. That's what Mo told me. In Mo's inventory, those wands of fireballs in particular are labeled Wand of Fireballs Bad Decisions version. There are multiple magical items labeled Bad Decisions version. This is the one that gets sold to Monty.
Oh, Crash, did you deduct the gold from my
Oh, I should probably do that.
currency?
It was an uncommon item, right?
It's an. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm mildly concerned as to how many people are buying bad decision magic items.
Never you mind. They all enter the transactions well informed. Some of them think it's a good idea anyway.
Cavill is
See,
giving
that's-
dubious observation.
Oh no, Cavill 100% is not concerned about what their patron is doing here. They're just concerned about the quantity of bad decisions happening.
You are a member of an adventurers guild. That should explain everything.
Bad decisions all the way down. It's bad decisions all the way down.
The first mistake was joining the adventurers guild. The second mistake was not taking one of my fetch quests.
That's true. There's more fetch quests going on.
There is a fetch quest because Mo always has a fetch quest. Let's go over them now. So, yes, the quest that you have available to you is you can end whatever Augmenite experiment went horribly wrong this time. That is always repeatable. Sometimes, as I've said before, they don't have the opportunity to send someone to flag, ask for help. You just show up right as the problem is happening because there's always a problem happening. You can retrieve an item from Mo because Mo always has people getting more items. You can harvest some tea leaves from Mork and Mindy, who are the proprietors of the Quest Hub Bar and Grill. The Hag of Sweet Sorrow Forest is suspected of an increasing number of disappearances. They've already sent one flag cohort after her, and they went missing. So This has gone up to the next.
Person who tried to pretend to be Mo.
No, this is somebody else. That particular hag is more powerful.
Hag.
Yeah, this hag was, and we're talking game mechanics here. That's not something that the characters would be talking about. But game mechanics wise, there's a lot of hags that are like level 3 or lower for CR that would be better. Like if we're sending a cohort that is correctly leveled after the hag, we'd be sending the lower tier that you're not in. Well, they did that, and the group didn't come back, so now they're escalating it. And you can check and see if the Tarrasque is still active. It's not a go fight the Tarrasque thing. It's a go and lay eyes on the Tarrasque, and once the mad panic subsides, come back and tell us about it.
Obvious personally. There you go.
The Tarrasque does, in theory, take a nap every so often. And they haven't seen the Tarrasque recently, so they don't know if it's gone back to sleep or if it's still rampaging.
Javi is personally, you want to keep the people who make the food on good terms with you, so maybe the tea leaves are a good idea, but also finding a missing cohort and then they owe you one might be useful.
And it's a baby cohort too. It's not as high level as you.
Yes, they should owe us one, obviously.
While you are looking at all of this, PT approaches you. You can tell it's PT because they are wearing PT.
PT.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
PT arrived at the end of last session. Yes. Technically, you have not. The rest of the party has. A PT arrived at the end of last session and introduced themselves and said, "Hey, there's some really bad stuff that's going on. I'm from the future. You screwed some stuff up." Or, not that you screwed it up, but some stuff is screwed up. And you can tell they're PT and not JR because they are wearing a hooded cloak. So that people stop looking at PT and going, "Aren't you JR?" Because the first time it's like, "No, actually, I'm just built to look similar to JR." The 50th time is really annoying.
It's got to be
PT needs
unsettling to have people walk
disguise.
up to you and say, "Aren't you God?"
Oh.
There's only one group that does that. But PT approaches you and says, "Ah, I see you are gathered together again. Can we have that discussion now?"
Probably a good idea.
I have no idea what discussion you mean, so I'm going to say yes.
Excellent.
I don't remember what discussion you mean, so I'll say yes.
Wonderful.
Cavil. So you remember the sparkly, horribly powerful person who took Chadwick apart briefly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, she made a she turned a dragonling into something that was like part cyborg, and it ate rust. And it was in a great deal of pain.
Interesting and terrible.
Yes, and honestly, I sort of need something that would kind of help even the odds when having a discussion about why you don't do things like that to people who haven't agreed, or animals who haven't agreed, or dragons who haven't agreed, or random landscape that hasn't agreed, honestly.
Yes,
How do you get agreement from random landscape?
Well, if you can't get an agreement, you shouldn't be doing things like that to it.
It is possible for some to speak with plants, yes.
With plants.
Also, many magical groves are able to have conversations without using a spell to speak with them directly. But in any case, shall we have this conversation in a more private location?
I think that's a great idea.
Excellent.
No.
Let's go upstairs to your guild quarters. And let's take a short break. We've been playing for about an hour.
Okay, sounds
I thought
good.
we were
Alright.
still in the barracks.
All right, I have
I'm gonna
unpaused.
continue looking through magic items.
And
I have not completed my purchasing.
we will retroactively say you bought them all, or you can go back downstairs and buy the rest of them after this conversation.
It can be asynchronous.
Yes. During the break, 2 pair of goggles of night were purchased. So now the murder bots can see you in the dark.
Yes.
That is not ominous at all. Should be relieved that they
And I
can
need
see
to
you in the
swap my
dark.
Wi-Fi. I need to swap
What's this
which
about
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi?
I'm on.
Oh, okay.
I need to swap
Oh.
which one I'm on.
Yes, the murder bots have become Wi-Fi enabled.
There we go. That's much faster. Maybe now everyone will stop having audio problems at me.
Actually,
Or at
forget
least
the murder
fewer of
bots.
them.
Forget the murder bots. Cavill has been Wi-Fi enabled this whole time. It's how Mo is able to see through Cavill's eyes.
Oh.
Yes, I kind of am a Wi-Fi node.
You are broadcasting.
The W stands for Warlock.
I just had this image of Mo adjusting
Warlock.
the horns on his head to try to get a better signal or a worse signal, depending. Horns do not work that way. So Mo would not actually be doing this.
Mhm.
All right. So we are continuing in a bare 50 by 50 square room on the second floor. Imagine, if you will, a space where the
I
walls
thought
are...
bear was going to be spelled a different way.
Mhm.
You are starting the second half of this session inside a bear.
Oh no, something went terribly wrong. Let's use this axe and get out.
No, you are in a bare room. The walls are fantasy drywall.
Okay.
There's marks on the floor that show that things were installed or built there before, but they've been taken down and recovered and patched.
Mhm.
Essentially, the second floor is for guild quarters, for cohorts that have reached a certain level of skill and reputation, do not have to live in the barracks anymore. So each cohort gets its own space. Apparently, it was decided after this recent rescue, which was it was supposed to be a search and destroy. You turned it into a search and rescue. And this is not the first time you've done that, which is looked upon favorably by the founders. So, cohorts of your level are usually not given quarters, but they decided to allocate some for you anyway. And they hadn't told you yet. But apparently, and
They did not.
they were going to be telling you soon.
Finally, I can do laundry.
You already have inspiration.
Does Tex wear clothes?
No, but now I have quarters.
Oh. For the laundry.
Oh,
No, they take those little plastic cards now.
Oh.
What's
When I
plastic?
It's sort of movable. It's not rigid. You can shape it a little bit.
I'm pretty sure you already have inspiration too, but let me check.
I think we all have inspiration.
I think we do.
Hobby did not.
No,
Where is it?
Now she does.
Oh.
no.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where is that on the character sheet?
It is if you are in the attribute section. It is on the right-hand side.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
Yeah.
Found it. Looks like I have it. So.
All right. So PT apologizes for being the one to tell you that you were going to have this space. In my conversation with grandfather, he did let me know that you would be getting this space. I thought you had already been told.
No?
Ah, well, now you've been told. You will still need to select your furnishings and how you want the room to be arranged. Most cohorts do not have a large, empty 50 by 50 space. They have individual rooms, usually a group area, maybe a breakfast nook, but you get the idea, I think. I've only been alive for... That's the wrong word. I have only been active for a few months now, and most of those I was alone on a Spelljammer ship. So I occasionally still surprise myself about what information I already have. I was pre-programmed with a lot. It doesn't always become active at the same time that I should know it. And you're all staring at.
Disconcerting. It
I-
sounds disconcerting.
I assure you, it is more disconcerting inside this head.
Nod.
And then there's also the safeguards put in place that prevent me from revealing information except to certain parties, which was troublesome as apparently grandfather was not added to the list of need to know. So there was a lot I could not tell him.
Oh.
Okay.
Hmm.
I have no idea who that is, but all right.
Oh,
Given
What
the
is the name of your
context-
grandfather?
I'm sorry. What? I didn't catch that. The DM didn't catch that.
I interrupted you.
That's fine. Cavill is going to let Tex finish. What Cavill was saying was, given the context, and also I was lifting my finger up in real life, despite the fact that no one can see it.
I do this all the time. So as Cavill is saying, given the context, what is Tex saying?
What is the name of your grandfather?
I believe you've already met. Codbucket.
Oh.
Ah,
Codbucket
So who is...
was the primary builder of JR, and I was built by JR and Jenny. Or at least designed by them. The crystal was... It's very confusing. Most of what I am was built a very long time ago, and then the crystal was added late. I would start from the beginning, but it's still too much. I would summarize, but it's still too much. So, the summary of the summary. When you went back in time to a little bit before now, relatively speaking, you succeeded. You successfully made sure that JR would not become the leader of the jurors and the subjugator of the multiverse. You won.
Yay?
But it wasn't a complete victory. In
Things
Oh.
rarely are.
in your original timeline, there are infinite timelines. In the timeline that you are from, the domain of dread referred to as the singing monolith was the term that is in my mind, the word neutralized. I do not like the emotional context that's included with that word. By JR after they got what they needed from it. What they needed was the blue smoke, magic, technology, whatever it is. They used that to create the jurors that were all, in some way, shape, or form, extensions of self. All the jurors were JR. And JR was all of the jurors.
Yes, I recall.
Except for 3. I see little microphones lighting up.
Poppy is squinting.
Yeah.
Who were the 3? Right. Who
JR.
Who
were
is
the
the
3?
third?
Let me
Trish?
continue the story. I don't know all the specifics. I'm inferring some things based on contextual. JR knew that the path they were taking was incredible. They knew they had gone far, but it was seen as a sunk cost. It was seen as a can't really go back now type of situation. Whether or not it was right or wrong to think that way, I dare not guess and hope that I'm never in a position where I even have to think. So JR formed a plan. There exists, or will exist, or did in the future exist, system error. JR had access to technology that would allow time travel. But it was not technology JR could. Beings sent into the past could not exist in the same time stream as themselves. So JR couldn't. None of the jurors could use
You're
it because
saying
they
that
were. This was all orchestrated by JR. Future JR. JR leaked that technology to Jenny. Because Jenny was capable of implementing. JR orchestrated the construction of 3 jurors using an alternate technology. They would believe that they were jurors. They would also see reason to defect for one reason or another and join.
Hobby is squinting at our Warforged here.
So we lost. None of this was real. We would have been destroyed. We would not have made it. All the multiverses would not have made it. The help of the person we were.
But we did it anyway.
You did.
Yes, we did. We did exactly what we were supposed to.
We fixed
JR
it, though.
needed you to save them. And you did.
And I am quite glad for them, and quite glad for the fact that we saved the multiverse. Well, we saved at least a timeline and several planes within it, and
Not yet.
nevertheless,
Not. The domain of dread known as the Singing Monolith was neutralized in your original timeline, with all of the residents inside of it. At the time you neutralized the Singing Monolith, one of the former residents had moved their phylactery outside. Aurora
Oh,
Springweather.
she's got a phylactery?
Technically, the Singing Monolith, that domain of dread, was the phylactery, all the residents. And it didn't like it. It was rebellious against those who built it, who controlled it, and it kept breaking off fragments of itself. One group of adventurers used those fragments to make a god cease to exist. It was that powerful. Aurora Springweather broke a fragment off herself. It was quite willing to do so. It wanted to do so anyway. And she turned that into her personal phylactery. So when the Singing Monolith was moved to the astral plane, spread out evenly throughout it, she wasn't trapped. In a way, she helped you. She burned the entire phlogiston. I believe you recall the week
And
of
that
fire.
destroyed the rest of it.
She
Yes.
incinerated one plane of existence to do a minuscule amount of damage to another, but that was enough to burn the very thinly spread nanite throughout the astral.
But this leaves us with a demigoddess running around making things she should not.
She's not a demigoddess. Extremely powerful, yes.
Are we
Not
sure?
quite ascended. The time I am from, most definite, hasn't really
That's what I was afraid of.
full power yet. She could only destroy her previous home by burning an entire plane of reality. I see a roll of 5 on an insight check. That looks like fun.
X isn't realizing the thing the player is realizing.
She's
Tex can't answer. Specifically, Tex can't ask the question the player wants to ask.
Someone else could if they got an insight roll.
Give it a try.
Most of Sclerora's nanites died with the Singing Monolith. One she brought with her, she is using and creating more every moment, but does not yet have enough to rival the power that JR would have had. Things get very bad in the new future timeline. Things that make the jurors
looking at these rolls and
yeah, we got a 5, we got a 6, we got an 8.
That's the wrong dice.
That's a D12.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I have rolled a D12 when I wanted to roll a D20 plenty of
Okay.
times with actual dice. That is an 18. Mech, what are you
That
wanting
is
to
an
know?
18. What am I wanting? I'm gonna ask PT if we are supposed to kill this person he's been talking about.
And hell.
Not with a frontal assault.
Tex has a No, it would definitely have to be some backstabbing.
I can do that.
Technically, doesn't have a back. She is made of nano. Her appearance is for aesthetic purposes only. But
PT.
yes,
What does she want?
that's part of the problem. She mercurial. What she wants can change from moment to moment. She spent eons as the subjugated apprentice to powerful liches who she herself killed with a little bit of help from you. They held her in check.
She's bored.
Yes, bored and incredibly powerful with, and I do not say this lightly, no sense of morality. Most beings have a sense of right and
What?
wrong, an idea of these things I would do, these things I would not do. Aurora doesn't.
Great. She's a chaos goddess. Eventually.
One that spreads her nanites out the moon. Things. Stop me if this sounds familiar to you.
Just tad.
Where do we find her?
I
I
don't
don't think we should find her yet.
All right.
think you should
Maybe
find
we
her
should
at
find
all.
someone who knows Wish.
Hmm.
We should find her phylactery.
That is what her previous phylactery was being studied by the Ogmanites, I believe. There is a fairly good chance that this close to when she made her move from one to the other, that her new phylactery is still mostly the technology that was used to make the old one. It's possible that some method of detection could be created by the Ogmanites who were studying this monolith.
So we need to talk to the Ogmanites.
That is what
Also,
I was.
I'm pretty sure we can probably blame the destruction of it on her. The monolith.
Doesn't matter if it's already broken.
Sure.
So PT doesn't have eyelids, but the glowing eyes sort of like blink out and back on again to simulate a blink. Oh, good. They are not aware that you are the reason.
It just blew up. It's not our fault. We were investigating zombies.
They are fairly certain that something acted upon the singing monster. Apparently, there has been some infighting among them about whose non-invasive, and air quotes are used. PT does raise their fingers up and do the little air quotes thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which non-invasive information gathering method triggered it? But most of them have settled on a force outside of their enclave, causing it to vanish suddenly.
I mean, she's still running around loose. She hated the people who were keeping her in check. Clearly, she had something to do with it.
Well, she's definitely responsible for the week of fire, yes.
See? Maybe she tricked somebody into doing something.
I couldn't hazard a guess.
Apparently, that's not an inaccurate assessment.
And that's a 2 on the die.
Sorry, I'm still a little bit, reeling from the revelation that my life's work would all have been for nothing if our alleged enemy hadn't intended us to win from probably long before we were born. But yes, let's go speak with the Ogmanites, shouldn't we?
They may know something we don't.
I'm sure they know a lot of things we don't. It's kind of their job.
True. Mm-hmm.
While you are doing
Sometimes
that,
they know these things in a very volatile manner. Yes?
This is true.
I have been given a flagstone. PT's face is reminiscent of that of a skull, very much like JR's is. So you wouldn't think that it's capable of showing a lot of emotion. But somehow, PT's body language, when they say flagstone, shows that they do not appreciate the glorious pun that is built into that name. And if only they had a fish to throw at the DM, they would make use of it. So you will be able to get messages to me if necessary. I would like to follow some of my own leads is the wrong word. Hunch might be a better word. There are things that I wish to investigate. And I probably need to do them by myself. But just a word of warning, if the Ogmanites have already discovered something that might be the phylactery, Laura would not have left it unguarded.
Don't go after it without being really careful or getting help. So we don't disappear.
Disappearing would be one of the...
Yeah.
I hesitated. That was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Disappearing would be a more favorable outcome than some of the ones that were apparently added to my data.
I was using disappearing as a catch-all to include things like sprayed across the walls in a thin layer.
So was I. At the very least.
Ugh.
At the very least, find that third warp.
Third Warforged?
JR created 3 self-trader.
Yes.
But wouldn't the third one have been left in the future?
If you if you are doing...
Not necessarily. But know this, fellow scion of a dead future. Regardless of what certain people might claim, my destiny is my own. And I'm walking out the door.
Okay. I guess we're done.
I'd like to profess likewise, but that ship went to a different planet. You have a report to make.
Mm.
If Tex is
I
correct,
just want to know where the third. Mhm.
then I am truly envious. My whole reason for being was to deliver the message that I just shared with you.
Well,
Yes.
congratulations. Now you have a new reason for being, which is apparently to save the future.
Why?
Probably the near future as much as the far future. Yes, of course you do.
I believe that mission was given to you.
Yes, but you know about it, so now you have to help.
Well, I suppose you could decide not to help and wander off to do who knows what. The point is,
True. Free
you
will.
could decide to not help and wander off to do who knows what. There isn't a have to.
That's true. It's free will versus free will and duty. I mean, we could stick our heads in the sands too. And just try to stay under her radar until, we die of old age or something.
Oh, yes,
But that won't
probably
be right.
could. She does not rise to full power for several centuries.
See? But that wouldn't be right. I mean, just because we got into all of this because we needed revenge, we also needed to make it stop happening. And if bad things are still happening, then we need to stop the bad things from happening.
It wasn't about revenge. For me, anyway.
I'm not going to say that it wasn't about revenge for me, some.
That's fair.
We lost a lot of people. And my
I know.
parents. My other parents. All our parents.
Yes.
Hoppy
I'm not
hugs,
sure
Cavil.
I'm not sure I have a parent, but my kind probably didn't.
In a manner of speaking, I would say that you do.
Well, that's news to me.
You are one of the three, are you not? Most likely you are. You are not powered by the smoke technology.
Not anymore.
No, not ever. It would not have worked, had been. Would not be able to be here. You were designed and built by, not created as an extension, just like I was.
So you're telling me JR is my father? How could this be?
Imagine JR wearing a Darth Vader outfit.
No,
I
Mech.
thought you knew.
No, Mech.
You didn't
I
know.
am your father.
Darth JR. Yes. Or if you read it another way, Darth Jr. Who would actually
That too, yeah.
that would be Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I suppose you would actually be more of a half sibling, as part of me was designed by Jenny.
Could be.
Congratulations, Mac. You have family. Weird family.
Weird family, yes.
Every family I have
From the
encountered
hundreds
so
of my
far
hands.
could only be described as weird.
Right.
Actually normal, says Hobby, who is still hugging Cavil.
The ones who activated me were a small clan of kobolds. Most of them were not kobolds. Yes. One was a small dragonborn. Imagine, if you will, across an untold span of the astral plane, someone screams to the sky, "Petite!"
Petite, petite.
A small dragonborn, a rather long lizard folk, an undead lizard of some kind, and a human, and several kobolds.
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask Gay. I suppose kobold clans might do things.
I'm sorry.
Maybe the others were half kobold. Except the
Right.
human.
Right.
What is A's clan name?
A? Did A come up with us?
A scampered off to do something.
Okay.
Do we know A's clan name?
A
Lost
is a
eye.
member of the Tuzi clan.
Lost Eye.
That's what I thought because I'm looking at it. Up
Lost Eye, okay.
Hobby is going to try
That's
to
why they're-
remember.
There are only 25 members.
Well, a lot less now.
Well, right now, though.
After a certain
chill.
barrel
Okay,
roll.
there were only 25 members.
Well, for a while there were more, so there was AA, there was AB, there was AC. Just imagine scrolling to the right on the spreadsheet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lost Eye.
Huh.
A's a kobold.
Yes.
Are there a lot of Lost Eyes?
Remember I said that there were safeguards in place?
Right.
There are safeguards in place.
You can't talk about A. Or about Lost Eyes.
We also do not talk about Bruno. I have not seen that movie, but if you talk about talking about Bruno, my middle schoolers will all break out into song.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right, have we reached to the limit of things that you can tell us that are relevant, I must ask?
I'm sorry, I will have PT respond, but I do need to read this out loud because Ellie wrote it in chat and it deserves to be in the recording. This implies that Jay-Z is a lost eye.
I got 99 problems, but a lich ain't one.
There were way more than 99
Casey is
kobolds in the clan.
clearly a warforged.
Was that you?
Casey is clearly a warforged.
Valid.
Well,
Yep.
the Circle of Tales is very accepting of a wide variety of kobolds and cultural kobold.
This is fair.
Now I'm imagining a little kobold-sized warforged.
Yes, that is also what I am imagining now.
Chroma, are you going to build kobold-sized warforged?
He already has.
I'm going to build
Crash already
Chroma.
has. Cobots.
Yes, but Chroma might too.
Once
Convergent evolution.
Once Chroma learns of the kobots, which by now, because sending is a thing, Chroma has learned that kobots are a thing. I imagine that plans are already being drafted, and or Chroma expects to be one of the first pair of feet on the ground on the Forge world,
Uh-huh.
with a bunch of
it's
blank
called the Forge
schematics
world.
in hand, ready to go.
It's called a Forge world. Or do we really think that Chroma isn't going to be one of the first people, even if we hadn't sent very much?
I'm going to go there, and I'm going to immediately remove myself from the plot by removing myself to the Forge.
Izal welcomes you with open arms. She
Oh,
really hopes that Chroma has the piece of paper saying that she's the Grand Poobah.
You were
So
sent
that
a piece of
finally the
paper.
Forge will listen to her.
You were sent a piece of paper declaring Sniv, the project lead, to be Grand Poobah.
unfortunately,
Well, as
That's a
Sniv
joke.
is physics,
That is a
Yep.
joke because you already sent a sending message that told them Sniv is physics. Therefore,
uh-huh.
Sniv is traveling home at the speed of light. Because that is what Sniv is.
however, even if that weren't a joke, because Sniv is physics, Deza, as a Stone Tail, would be entitled to take his place.
That makes sense.
Oh.
I think Dezal is the only stone tail on the planet that you've seen.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
There's more chipped claw than you thought
So-
were there, but still.
It's yeah. Anyway,
I
for the
I love-
record, by the way, Tex isn't just stalking off.
Texting somewhere.
Tex stalks off
Tex
to
is
the
headed down
consignment
to-
shop.
No, Tex stalks off to. I've got too many windows open.
Hmm.
The
Tex stalks
infirmary.
off to close the windows. And then,
Yeah. The infirmary.
okay.
Because if
Cogbuckets.
Tex's guess is true, then Cogbucket has the memory crystal of the third Warforged.
Oh,
Oh, smart.
interesting.
Yes. How did Cogbucket get that third memory crystal?
Tex gave it to him.
And where did it come from?
Tex brought it back with her.
Mhm.
Yes, that's Tex's chain of thought.
JR orchestrated the direction that the plot would go, but couldn't control all the details. Free will was definitely in play. So, Tex and Mech, going back in time, that was considered a success because 2/3 made it. One of them making it would have been considered a success. But all three? That's amazing. If only there
One
was
in
some
100 chances happening.
Yeah, 100
Don't mind
one
me,
in a
just
million
putting
chances
traction.
happen 9 times out of 10.
Uh-huh.
But only if you're on a Discworld.
True.
If only
Mercy.
there was somebody who was on their way to get the schematics for the kind of chassis that could store a memory.
Is there?
Cobots.
Oh,
And that can happen behind the scenes because they're all going to be high level retired adventurers.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So you storm off to Cogbucket's infirmary and barbershop. When you storm in, because let's face it, even if you're calm, you're a 9-foot tall murder bot. You're going to be storming in. Cogbucket is in the middle of giving someone a shave and a haircut.
Okay. I'll wait while the conversation in the quarters continues.
By the way, the shave and a haircut immediately stops because Cogbucket is afraid that the person in the chair is going to move suddenly when a murderbot comes in and just looms in resting loom pose. So there is some effort to calm them down before the shave is finished.
Fair.
Okay. So the question that was asked long, long ago in guild quarters far, far away from the infirmary was, have you told us everything that we need to know at this point? The DM did not forget this. Even if it took forever and a day. And the DM is going to toss again. I have told you everything that I know now. It is my hope that the places I intend to visit will bring more memories up, more things stored in my own personality crystal. But I was hastily constructed. Not every subroutine is made correctly. I believe the term that was used, it doesn't make sense to me, but there was a lot of what's called copy pasting. And it doesn't always point to the right
I know
place.
what that is.
The only imagery that comes to mind is cutting bits of paper and gluing them onto another piece of paper.
No, here, I'll show you what copy pasting is. And Caffel gets out their
Shadows?
still not entirely functional ebook of shadows. Its actual book of shadows functionality is still missing, but it is a device.
You are currently using it in its freemium format. You do need to pay an additional level cost in order to get the pro version.
Unfortunately, the level cost cannot be acquired without training the patron.
Very true. And this whole time I'm looking at the map where Mo is smiling. Mo is not smiling at this, but the avatar is smiling. So you pull out the Book of Shadows and you show PT what copy pasting is.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. This makes...
So what were you copied from? Squint at what PT looks like.
Previous prototype. There is, I believe, a little bit of what makes text text and what makes mech mech and what makes the third. I was not given any names. I infer them. What makes the third Warforged? Them. In me. Not enough to make me a copy of anyone. But every person is an amalgamation.
So, hey, Mech, does this mean that this is your half-sibling, part-sibling, or, like, a kid?
I don't think I want to think about that.
Let us simply go with the idea that Warforged family units do not follow our organic terminology exactly.
Fantasy Facebook has a Warforged family where every relation is just marked, it's complicated.
Yeah.
A
So
significant
valid.
number of my subroutines are inspired by this timeline's JR, even if not wholly copies. It is my intent to visit places that were, insert tense here, important to JR, and hope that jogs.
You should probably hire some bodyguards or something to wander around with you, which means that I can give you some of my gold and you can hire like teeny tiny cohorts here.
I appreciate the sentiment. With that said, I believe that the phrasing that JR would use is, I am sufficiently advanced.
Okay.
JR
If you're sure.
JR for the early parts of their life was coddled and protected. They became who they are because they wished to protect their friends. Everything.
Which got kind of out of hand.
Yes. But you changed that. You saved someone who they had not been able to. And that changed everything. But that is not the point I'm getting to. Functionally, there is a lot of me that was built to be what is the term? Two beings, two species that evolve in different places, but to be basically the same thing.
Convergent evolution.
Thank you. Like how everything becomes crab. I am a crab of peach. No, wait. No, that works. I am built to be like JR, but not JR. Which means I can throw down with the best of the.
And you're only a few months awake. That is so not fair.
Sorry.
Yes, well, if it makes you feel any better, my primary reason for existing ended about 10 minutes ago.
I don't understand.
Don't worry, it happens to all of us, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Jen,
Mhm.
out of character,
Mhm.
You might have missed this. PT explained that their reason for existing was communicating this information.
To
Oh, okay.
us.
Got it. I could see where Mech wouldn't get it though. You know?
Yeah.
But I didn't get it either, so thanks.
Yeah, well, free will, it happens, you know?
I don't know.
You're gonna find out.
Well, that's worrying.
No, I'm sorry. It must be worse for you than us. You've never known anything but the mission and what was programmed into you. And we may have been encouraged into this, shall we say, but we still all made choice.
I think
Uh-huh.
JR and Jenny also did their best to encourage. A simple go here, find these people, and deliver would have been enough. Not knowing anything else, I would have just drove to complete this. Instead, I have significant file storage detailing the things that JR I imagine that Hex and Mech and the rest of you as well know something of varying degree. It is worse than anything that you have seen. I also have an equal amount of storage space dedicated to what's Glorora doing in the moments that JR and he had left. They had both been deities at some point, barely Jenny for a very short amount of time. And that remnant of divinity was allowing them to resist the changes to the timeline long enough to send me back. I am a rush. But they knew that shortly after sending me back, their time would be. Timeline would claim them, and they would be whatever they were in the distant past when Sclorora
Ew.
I have been processing for months. There was not much to do on a Spelljammer by myself. And I have come to categorize various feelings as pain, rage, sorrow, regret, and a significant amount of grief. It is
Also, Jamba Juice. The angel ship was surprisingly well stocked.
which is weird because I cannot eat or drink, neither could the kobolds. So, for some reason, they just kept putting it there anyway. Most of it had expired long before I boarded. You know what? That's going to be canon.
I would have preferred an orange Julius.
Those expire faster, though.
Orange Julius's.
That's true.
Alas.
You just need to go to a mall. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what Roll Rock does.
Go to the mall. And that's yet another campaign brought into.
I love all of this.
It is. Yeah.
It is somewhat fascinating to me that the ones for whom I grieve the most are also the ones for whom I feel the most rage.
Being angry at your parents for doing stuff that got them into trouble is pretty normal.
That got us all in
Why?
significant amount.
That too.
Cavill was about to say.
I don't think that there's really much of anyone who can relate exactly I think you are, in effect, one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, ET pauses for a moment for beacons. I truly appreciate the sentiment. I hoped that you would feel that, but did not know if you would resent my message so much and appearance of the messenger that you would have a different opinion. Which does make me regret feeling but my understanding is that certain individuals do not want members of your group going anywhere near JR.
Point.
And
So
so
So you can do that if you're not part of our group, technically.
I am not emotionally ready to meet my father. Or JR never
Parent.
picked. Thank you.
Hey, you've met your a couple of your sibling parents too, so
Yes.
I mean they count.
And I believe
Met counts.
our opinions of our parent are equally muddled, I think.
Not that I'm aware of it, yes.
Meeting with grandfather was awkward at first, but he sees everyone as a friend. That was a comfort. He was legitimately pleased to meet me.
There are people who get raised by their grandparents. It'll be fine. If we can just get rid of the
It's
demigoddess.
tragic that their parents had to stay dead, but you know, some grandparents can only afford one spell.
Yeah. Some grandparents can't afford any spells.
Some grandparents cease to exist in the timeline you've created.
Yeah, well, Hobby spends a
Look,
lot of time not thinking about this.
I'm doing what I can with raised by your grandparents.
I mean, honestly, there's some parents who just, ditch the egg in somebody else's nest and run off.
And for the record, Ellie, I did get the joke.
Mm-hmm.
I am now imagining Longcap as a grandparent. That would imply...
does not intend to breed.
Oh,
But
no, I didn't say they'd be genetically grandparents.
Like proud. Longcap would be something like proud if one of their undead creations started taking wizard levels.
Oh.
Smallest Kep, standing upon an open Necronomicon. Very hard, it's a struggle as Smallest Kep tries to turn each page, because the pages are larger than Smallest Kep. Unfortunately, most of the spells have a verbal component.
Also, Smallest Kep has an int of 1, I think. Or like 2 or something.
So Smallest Kep thinks Smallest Kep is learning. Right?
I have a sister that once read all of War and Peace.
Would need a smallest headband of intellect.
And an Ion Stone, yes. So one of my sisters once read War and Peace, and by read War and Peace, I mean she was too young to read at the time, but she opened the book and turned each page and looked at all the words.
Okay.
That's fair.
That seems a lot.
I'm imagining this is Smallest Kep's experience with necromancy.
Yeah.
You look at all the words very carefully.
Yes. Let's not talk about the words that end up getting you possessed. Moving forward. What? Hi. Never mind. So there is this delightful heart-to-heart. Meanwhile, in Codbucket's infirmary,
down in the infirmary
and barbershop, someone with a very smart-looking waxed mustache and a haircut is leaving as Codbucket turns to face Tex. May I help you?
I must inquire about the memory crystal that I left with you, and also I must speak with Jenny immediately.
Who? Oh, 867 by 309.
By the name of Jenny. Yes.
Yes. I can probably contact Jenny. They've come and performed here several times. Follow me.
I will do so.
Codbucket pulls out a device and creates what's effectively a dimension door that you walk through. I still am not 100% certain that my infirmary, free of whatever Sclera was, I have not kept the memory crystal there.
I bow to your wisdom. Do you know who Sclera is? Would you be able to identify them on sight?
If she doesn't change her appearance, a thing that I have been told that she is capable of, then yes, I would recognize her most commonly used.
Well, Tex tried real hard.
Yep.
And got real far. But in the end, this still might matter.
But in the end, well, have you seen Sclerora anywhere near any of us?
Not since she
Or
came in and took the crystal you brought from that ship.
accessing?
Do we know about that?
Yeah,
Do we
you were
know
all
about
gathered
that?
around, and
Oh, okay.
Cogbucket was
All right.
telling you what they were able to determine from the crystal, and then Sclero showed up and said, "Oh wow, isn't that neat?" and took it.
And this is the person that I think it is?
Aurora is that person, yeah.
The person for whom... What color is their hair is diagnostic, but not in an obvious way.
The color seems to be different each time, and often a color that cannot be found in nature
Yeah.
and or should not exist according to the laws of physics. On one occasion, it was
Yes.
fluorescent black.
Diagnostic, but not in an obvious way.
That is Sclera, yes.
Hair color as attitude. Multiple personality, just lich. Or
Come to think of it,
attitude lich, rather.
I think canonically, she never changed Chroma's scale color back, so Chroma's scale color is still
You've
fluorescent
noted
black.
that several times.
And I will continue to be amused by this every time I remember it.
Chroma is fluorescent black.
Yes.
Okay.
Before it was charcoal.
Well,
Very well.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they change their appearance, now I can identify them too. I have associated the name with an appearance. Thank you for your cooperation and assistance.
Anytime. About the memory crystal. I have determined that it is intact. I am relatively certain that it is not damaged in any way that I can gather from non-invasive means. To investigate further, we should probably have a new body constructed.
I believe I know how to make that happen. I will. I apologize. I seem to have interrupted you.
We did not have a full discussion on the nature of, but I have been meaning to ask. Is this family?
Mm. This was the crystal of my partner, who was otherwise destroyed during an incident that led to my emancipation. I worry that if this crystal is placed in a fully functioning chassis, it may attempt to restart the work to which we were assigned at the time of the accident, which is the subjugation of
I know that
what
story.
is the word I am looking for? Yes.
This is
We must, if we place this crystal in a body, ensure that the body does not have the means to escape whatever bondage we put it in.
I am glad you're telling me this. But please, I must ask you. Answer the question. Is this family? For the record, this long silence is going to be canon.
Oh, it's absolutely canon.
Yes, I will have to edit it in again, possibly. And Cogbucket is making eye contact with Tex. There may be a footstool involved to make it happen, but there is eye contact, and it is not wavering.
Tex's expression is, as always, immobile. I don't know if I've said this out loud in a game before, but Tex is not capable of emoting via her face.
Neither is PT or JR.
She basically has a mask that serves as her face. And it may be a mask over the same kind of skull that PT and JR have. I don't think anybody's decided that yet.
Meanwhile, Cogbucket has had augmentations done to have a more aggressive appearance. In an attempt to better fit in with society, in many cases it's made it worse.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was asking about the kobold-sized shield of expression earlier. Just like mounted on my face.
Aw.
Technically, any armor you equip is integrated into your body over a long rest.
That's true.
Shield to the face. Wait, not like that. Silly moment aside, the staring contest is still going on.
If I had had the capacity at the time, I would have called them sibling. Now, I don't know.
Hot Bucket puts a hand on your shoulder. Says, that is what I needed. Let's help my grandchild. And that's where we're going to end it for tonight.
Oh, wow.
With an aw moment. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for playing. Tonight I was joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Beth, Ellie, Io, and Jen. Who wants to plug a thing?
Well, Io's mom writes books.
At elizabeth-mccoy.com.
Find it anywhere that sells quality
Hopefully
books.
sooner rather than later.
Sorry, what? That overlapped for me.
Yeah.
Crash, you go
Who's
first.
talking? You can find Beth's books anywhere that sells quality books and places that don't sell quality books because you can rent them off the Libby app.
Get me to ask your library to acquire them.
Yes. And by
But
rent, I
they're
mean
really
borrow.
cheap for
There's no money
libraries.
exchanging hands.
Mhm.
Yes.
Or rather, there is, but that's
Well,
because
there
the
is.
libraries buy
Library
it.
pays me.
Yes.
Yes. Libraries make me very happy. And also, lots of people then get to read it for free. And if they like it themselves, then they can always choose to buy their own copy if they want, or they can just keep checking it out at the library.
And
they're
speaking of books and vast libraries of back content,
Bat content?
back content.
Back content, yeah.
Same back
Okay, so my
content,
website's
same back time. Sorry.
There we go, yeah. All right, so Book of Jen is at bookofjen.net. It has some book reviews up, actually quite a few. They're at the top of the blog, I guess. All kinds of other stuff in there. A lot of Diablo-related stuff, things like that. You can find it at bookofjen.net. And I'm also the host of the Shattered Soulstone podcast, which is also about the Diablo games for the most part and whatever's going on with the companies. And a new episode comes out every Saturday. You can find it at shatteredsoulstone.com.
And speaking of websites about gaming, I feel obliged to plug Millie's website, elekk.xyz. That's elek.xyz, a Mastodon instance that's a federated social media instance focused on gaming. And speaking of Patreons,
Well, we do have one, but it's not necessary. I mean, you can go to aaronbsmith.com/cogwheel and get all of this content for free. We post a new episode every week on Monday morning, and you can subscribe to all the RSS feeds.
Not
There's one RSS
free.
feed. Yes, free, because this is a hobby. And hobbies are a bottomless pit that you try to fill with money.
no, Beth's character is a hobby. This
Hobby is a bottomless pit that you try to fill with cat food.
And money.
Best character is a hobby. This is a pastime.
There we go. You still have inspiration. Because when you rolled the low insight check, you didn't spend your
will never-
inspiration.
I will never not have inspiration.
There have been times where I checked that you didn't have it. They happen. Because every now and then you actually spend it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You spent it last session to jump over a wall. And then
That's true.
immediately got it back. But in any case, if for some reason
Question. Oh, wait.
I answer,
We're still on.
yes, we still are.
We're still on.
We are.
Yeah, we're
But
wrapping up.
speaking of being off,
I
Sorry,
love.
I thought we got sidetracked, so I thought
We did.
it ended.
We did get sidetracked. But that is normal for us, isn't it? I love all this ADD and no medication to
and speaking
compensate
of
for it.
normal things,
Well, speaking of pastimes
Crash
that you try to
saying-
fill with endless amounts of money, if you would like us to break even, you can support us by going to patreon.com/cogwheelgaming to help us keep the lights on and join other illustrious patrons, including Chris, Ellie, Shanshan, Walter, Patron Emeritus Cindy. And until next time, this is Crash saying, what in the world did I just watch through Cavill's eye?
Well, something that he is an entirely unnecessary report.
Uh-huh.
This is something that I very much want to be not my problem. So why am I certain this is going to be my problem?
It's going to be your warlock's problem.
Good night, everybody.
Technically, Mo already has a warlock. You know? Sorry, I interrupted.
It's just a phase.
Am I talking? Am I coming through? Okay.
You're coming through. I hear you.
You are, but let me wrap this up. Okay, turning it off and